Sure. Just want to congratulate Joe Barisi and Army West Point. Awesome game by them. We saw the draw on Sunday and started watching film, and we knew we had a really good team, an awesome team, one of the better teams in the tournament. So we knew we'd have our hands full, and that's exactly what we got. I give them a ton of credit. They are as advertised. They play hard. They're skilled. They're tough. They're opportunistic. They're unselfish. They battle you. So again, give credit where credit's due. Obviously appreciate our fans coming. They were awesome tonight. Obviously it's a tough locker room right now. We got a lot of guys like these two guys that have been amazing for our program. So tough for Brett to come up here. A lot of tears, and a lot of guys that have invested a lot. So sad to see the journey end for them, but super grateful for all those guys have given. And again, wish we could continue on with the journey. And that's the sad part, is we won't have another week together. That will hurt the most. But again, there's a lot of things I'm grateful for with this group, given everything that happened this year. These guys overcame a lot, and very proud of how they handled things.
John, when you kind of look at how they had a response for just about everything all the way through, just how much did that kind of keep you guys at bay a little bit, and just how much did that kind of essentially lead to the final result?
Yeah, right. Not a great way to start. Digging ourselves a hole. 7 goals in a quarter. We're getting up to what we'd like to keep guys to in a game, and we're giving up 7 pretty early. And it wasn't one thing. Again, give them credit. They were opportunistic. Maybe when we made a mistake, they super capitalized on it, and made us pay for it. I give our kids a lot of credit for battling back. A week ago, we were in a spot where things were not going well, and we didn't handle it particularly well. And I thought tonight they just did a much better job. So I am proud of them for that. But to your point, we would get up, finally get over the top, and they'd come back. And again, credit to them. You would expect nothing less from an Army West Point team and a Joe Barisi team. Those kids are tough, resilient, and I'm glad they'll be on our side after they graduate, because they got a lot of guys I would want protecting our country.
Yeah, Coach, for the final time you're sitting with these two warriors on either side of you, talk about number one, how John just played the whole year, basically it seemed like a one leg, and Brett, your first number one ever as a defender. Talk about what they've meant to the program over this 5 years.
We'd be here a long time if I really said everything I would want to say about these guys, because there's so many things. For these guys to be willing to take a chance on us, I'm thankful for that. For everything that those guys gave to our program, the impact of these guys will be felt for a long time, and that's probably the biggest compliment I could say to them, because the legacy of how they did their business, how they treated people, how hard they worked, their character. I can constantly go back and say, hey man, this is what these guys did, and that's what you want from your leaders. Can't replace them, because they're two guys that are amazing guys. The other guys just need to be the best version of themselves, but they're winners. The great thing is that regardless of what they choose to do, these guys will crush it. And I'm fully confident, because they know what it takes to be successful, and when things aren't going to go well, they'll persevere, they'll get it done, and they'll find a way to get it, just get over the top. So, and they'll make great impacts on their community, and that's really the hope, to be the best mentality. It's not just on the field, it's in the classroom, it's in the community, and these guys exemplify that.
Brett and John, kind of the flip side of that question. I know it's pretty broad right now, but just, what are you thinking about what your experience here has been?
Yeah, like Coach said, if I had to talk about how much this place has given me, my family, we'd be here for days. But, I think kind of just to sum it up, just a blueprint on how to live my life. The lessons I've learned, the things that are ingrained in me now from my experience here, from being able to learn and see, how to lead from guys like Coach Tillman, Coach Bernhardt, Coach Jake Bernhardt, Coach Benson, Coach Obransky. The list goes on and on. So many people to thank And this place has given me more than I ever imagined. And every time, you know, we kind of went out there this year, in the back of my head, I kind of felt like I was trying to give this place back what it's given me. And it's been so much. So just really, really grateful for the experience, blessed, and can't thank Coach Tillman enough for taking a chance on me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Brett touched on it a little bit. It's the people. The people have had the biggest impact on me, from Coach Tillman to Coach Bernhardt, Bobby, Benson, Jake. I mean, all the way down to all the captains that we had, Roman, Nick Grill leading the defense when I was here, when I was younger. I mean, all the people have had tremendous impact on me, and those are the people that, in the experience, I'm really thankful for here.
Brett, how would you kind of size up this season? Obviously different from the last couple that you experienced, but the ups and downs, I know we've talked about it before, but just how different was this experience compared to the last couple?
Yeah, a lot of ups and downs. And even tonight, you know, it didn't start great, but the way we battled kind of just summed up what this group did all year. You know, handle adversity, whether it was injuries, having to just plug guys in the lineup, get playing on one leg, guys battling back, Monday to Friday just to be able to play on Saturday. That's just the kind of group we had. Couldn't be more proud of these guys, and I know the program's in great hands going forward, not only for guys like Coach Tillman, because of guys like Coach Tillman, but because of the guys in that locker room. You saw a lot of guys grow up really, really fast this year. And Coach made the point last week, this group easily could have thrown in the towel. When things weren't going our way, when certain guys got hurt, we could have packed it in and just said, it's not our year. But the way this group battled and handled adversity really, really was impressive. And I know it pushed me to be a better player and leader, and for that I'm forever grateful.
Coach, can you talk about how Urksa developed through the year, and when you really needed some goals tonight, he stepped up and got a few?
Yeah, I mean, what he did for us this year was huge. 4 again tonight and an assist, getting everybody's best guy. That's a lot to ask, but he was up for the challenge, and I think a lot of that credit goes to these guys, what they're doing in practice, the leadership of the guys, being a freshman's hard, but when you have good leadership, they elevate people around them, and that's what these guys did. And again, 20's an excellent defender. He's really good. And again, I feel like week after week, Braden was getting a lot of number ones, and he never backed down. Obviously, he's got a super bright future. And there's so much more I think we can do, and there's so much more that he can improve upon, and I know he's excited about that challenge. Was there any discussion about making any change in goal as the game wore on? Yeah, it's certainly something that you think about. It's a tricky spot, because you got a guy that got us here. You also, realize, hey, we didn't get off to a great start. I didn't feel like we really set Brian up for success early. I didn't feel like we let him get comfortable and see some shots from the outside. And that's tough. So again, I think every goalie's a little bit better when they get a couple saves under their belt, which is tough. I think we can always look back now and say, what if that, but Brian's gotten us here. Everybody remembers, obviously, Virginia, and, some of those saves. So at the end of the day, the guy that got us here, we were going to stay with him. Like I said, I do feel like, having worked with goalies a lot of goalie play is dictated by what's in front of them. And I think all these guys would say, obviously, if we've done a little better job, including myself, he probably would have had an easier time. But it's a tough spot to put him in. And as I told him after, he was pretty disappointed. We don't get here without him. We just don't. You got a guy that's MVP of the Final Four and arguably one of the best goalies in the country. To try to fill those shoes is tough. We never asked him to be Logan. We just needed to be his best. And given everything, I thought Brian did a really good job this year.
I guess it could be for anyone, but what kind of changes did you guys make from the first quarter to the second quarter? Because the first quarter kind of looked like the game against Michigan, and the second quarter, you guys got flipped and made it a competitive game that ended.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that we had the ball. Faceoffs were 7 out of 8. I felt like they didn't have a lot of touches, and we dominated possession. Shots were 16-5. Our ground ball play was much better. It's 11 to 6 on that. So You know, where they had possession a lot early in the first quarter, I felt like we ended up, you know, kind of turning the table and just, you know, Luke was doing a good job. We were getting opportunities, and the guys were getting into a flow. I just felt like we had some empty possessions early, which, you know, has been difficult for us when we have those empty possessions. You know, the good teams make it pay, which they certainly did.
Yeah, Coach, dating back to the first Big Ten semifinal against Hopkins with Michigan last week and then Army tonight, you started slowly in all three of those games. Like, what can you attest to that, and how can you get better for next season?
Yeah, it's something we're going to have to talk about and look at. You know, I can't put my finger on it right now. Obviously, it's something we're going to have to look at, whether it's, you know, what we're doing in warm-ups or how we prepare, what we're saying. You know, and I think that was one of the bigger challenges this year was, you know, for this group, trying to figure out what was best. A lot of new guys and new parts, and you know, even guys, you know, Murph was playing attack in midfield, now he's back to attack. Braden was playing midfield earlier, and then we moved him to attack. So it was definitely a year where we were constantly, and Murph was dinged up a little, he was dinged up a little, so there really wasn't that consistency and continuity you'd love. So that's something we're certainly going to have to look at. I know I aged a lot this year. You know, I love these guys, but when you see 4 freshmen go out for the first face-off, you know, I think as coaches, our kids care so much. They invest a lot, so we put a lot on us to make sure that they are fully prepared. And again, you know, when you lose like this, you know, obviously I'll put the finger right at me, like what could I have done better to put these kids in a better position? Because obviously it's 1 goal game, and you kind of look and go, all right, well maybe we should have done X, Y, or Z. And if we had, maybe these kids would have another week together. So those are always tough moments as part of being a coach. You got to own that, and that's the reality of it. And obviously, the injuries, when a guy gets hurt, it's hard to get over those things because you know how much that hurts. So to see a guy go down and know his year's over is tough. And then obviously a night like tonight when the journey's over, and what these guys have meant and the time we've had together and knowing that's over, it's tough. You know, I take solace in knowing that part of what you hope is they'll go on to bigger and better things and make a positive impact, which this group will. I just have no doubt those guys are going to be successful. So, you know, like parents have to give their kids up and let them go to college. You know, we got to let them go, but you're excited about all the great things they're going to do.
Thank you guys.